guys? Good morning. I am a little bit late on this. I usually try and get the first video done by Wednesday. It is a Thursday, but we're going to get into it anyways. We're going to get here and we're going to get the other one done by the end of the week too. That way we can keep on track with our chapters of Job here. Today we're going to be in Job 3. If you remember the first two chapters, we had the devil was going after Job in chapter 1. Took away his kids, took away his oxen, took away all of his things like that. Then in chapter 2 is when Satan actually gets to go after Job himself, and his wife tells him to curse God and die. And then he goes, and his friends come to him, and they pray with him for 7 days and 7 nights without saying a thing. Here in chapter 3 is when Job finally opens his mouth and says something. And then this is what chapter 3 says. It says, "After this opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. And Job spake and said, Let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, There is a man child conceived. Let that day be darkness. Let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it. Let darkness and the shadow of death stain it. Let a cloud dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. As for that night, let darkness seize upon it. Let it not be joined into the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Lo, let that night be solitary. Let no joyful voice come therein. Let them curse it that curse the day, who are ready to raise up their mourning. Let the stars of the twilight thereof be dark. Let it look for light, but have none. Neither let it see the dawning of the day, because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid sorrow from mine eyes. Why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? Why did the knees prevent me, or why the breast that I should suck? For now should I have lain still and been quiet, I should have slept, then had I been at rest." So what we see here up until verse 13 is we see Job saying that he curses the day he was born. Now keep in mind, he's still not sinning against God. He's not cursing God. He's cursing the day that he was born. Yes, does it have to do with the fact that Satan's coming after him right now and that God has given Satan control over that to do these things? Yes, but he's still not sinning against God. He's cursing the day that he was born. And so many times we often hear that Job was a perfect man and he was, you know, a patient man and he was all these things. That's not necessarily what the Bible says right here. Here in chapter 3, we see Job struggling. We see that through all these things, Job wasn't always, sunshine and rainbows through it all like he was with his wife. He wasn't always that, you know, how dare you say these things kind of guy. He struggled with it too. It wasn't all hunky dory for Job. He wasn't in the best mental space for this. He was going through some things as well. Start back at 14 here. "With kings and counselors of the earth, which build desolate places for themselves, or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver, excuse me, or as in hidden untimely birth I had not been, as infants which never saw light. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together, they hear not the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul, which long for death, but it cometh not, and dig for it more than for hid treasures, which rejoice exceedingly and are glad when they can find the grave. Why is light given to a man whose way is hid, and whom God hath hedged in? For my sighing cometh before I eat, and my roarings are poured out like the waters. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came." So we see here at the start of chapter 3, we see Job cursing the day that he was born. This is after 7 days of not saying a thing with his three friends being there. And then now here in front of his friends, he's cursing the day that he was born. Then in the second half of Job, he says he's almost glorifying death here. He's saying, you know, it says, "Where the wicked cease from troubling, and where the weary be at rest, where the prisoners rest together, and they hear not the voice of the oppressor." And it goes on to say a bunch more things. He's saying, man, in death, all these people get things. You know, uh, the wicked get light. The weary are at rest. The prisoners rest together. All these things. He's saying that all these bad people, all these good people are still getting something in death, but he can't die. He's not dead yet. He didn't die on the day of his birth. And that's why he was cursing it. He didn't die that day, and he doesn't get to receive those peacefulness and things like that. Instead, he's going through all these troubles that he's facing right now on this earth because of Satan. And he's struggling with all this, and he's telling his friends this. And then here in chapter 4, we'll see how his friends react to it when we get to chapter 4. But in chapter 3, we do see a little bit of Job and his human nature, that he's not just this, powerhouse Christian that just power through all these things and it was always perfect and he was always in the right mental space and all these things. Did he still persevere? Yes, that's the story of Job. The story of Job is perseverance. The story of Job isn't perfectness. That's what we see here is some of that perseverance, even though he's going through these hard times. Then when we get into chapter 4 later this week, we'll see how his friends react to him saying all these things, and then we'll go into that later on. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to love everybody. Remember to pray today. Love you guys. Bye.